And we are live right over here. And I see you more than once. Hold on a second. My view is pretty weird, though. Hold on a second. Here I am. I'm taking up the whole screen. I'm fixing my video here. Just a moment, please. Whoa. I'm up here big. And here you are. Also, in the right size. It remembered you. Larry, it remembered you.
Yay!
And now you're in two screens. There's our Teams meeting on the back end. And all right. So I'm wondering what we're going to do today. I got a few things I can cover, unless you got some links that you feel like putting out there.
No, all I'll say is that I was, I guess, a dollar late, a day late and a dollar short. You know, one of the things that we talked about last time was Windows 365, and I said I'm all in on it. And then I was going to wait until I got home. I'm driving tomorrow back to New York, and I was like, I'm going to get the free trial, but I'll wait until I get back to New York because I want to be able to use every day of the free trial because I really want to give this a solid shot. And
Right.
you know, some someone internally was asking, well, does it allow virtualization inside? Because we want to use Docker. We use Docker um, to let our developers use Redis locally, and all kinds of
Right.
good things, good questions that I wanted to answer.
Aha.
But I was
But
reading last night that Microsoft had to stop giving free trials because demand was so great that they do not have enough hardware to run it.
I mean, why is this a surprise? I don't know why it shouldn't have been a surprise. I mean, they pushed the heck out of it for sure.
Right.
Everyone learned from the last time how great that stuff was. It's like the developer trials themselves, right? This is why I was been for the longest time saying grab that while you can,
Right.
because you never know when that's going to itself. I mean, there was a time even when we were setting up the dev tenants, they used to take hours to set up,
Mm.
very long time. Then suddenly they became super fast. I was demonstrating ones like, well, I have one already cooked for you because this one's going to take a while, and all of a sudden it was done. I'm like, what?
Right.
It was like, what happened?
Well,
So I'm like, so I told folks, this is the time while you're watching me,
do it now.
do this now. And then if you have any questions, you can actually ask me now because I have never seen it this fast, and I don't know if it's going to be this fast for long.
Well,
All right, and
I'm sure that they're going to
and
put
worse,
some.
it might get cut off.
Yeah, they're putting money behind it. They're gonna have it back out. I think the difference is that all of those are pointed towards developers, and developers are big. I mean, that's the pond that we live in,
Right,
and
you got
we're
it.
we're not giant fish, but we're big enough.
Hmm.
But that VDI is actually hitting a much broader market because that's everybody, every business that has machines is
Anybody that's just had a workstation or just any worker, right? So if you had a machine, you're a worker, you have knowledge, you're a resource to the company, everybody,
right.
right? So ah,
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it's my bandwidth or not, but your camera looks kind of
I know. I don't have a good lighting over here where I'm at.
okay.
It just bad lighting,
No worries.
bad lighting.
Okay, I didn't know if it was just
So,
my bandwidth because I'm still in this
no, no,
hotel.
no. I'm in a funky bandwidth. I'm in a remote location, a secret lair where there's no instead of alligators we have sea urchins watching out for you. They're just as dangerous, I heard.
Nice.
So, but nope. And so I'm not normally at home actually. So normally if I'm at home, I have my many screens, getting some of this stuff working. The fact that this worked very quickly in a short order says that I could probably take this show on the road more often than I can.
There you go.
Yeah. So hey, oh, so interestingly enough, the background from the background over here from whatchamacallit, Bing is somewhere on the road. I'm not sure where that is. Where is that background? Here, let me go look around here. Hold on a second. I'm moving things around. Maybe everyone dizzy here. Here we go. All right. So I'm going to share my screen so you can see what the heck I'm looking at
Sure.
here. Just a moment, sir. Da-da, where's the share screen? Wow, there's so many windows open. Let me share screen.
So did you end up getting
Share.
2 monitors working?
So I have two monitors.
Good,
Yes.
good.
So I'm able to get that. So you
Oh,
can see my
nice.
screen. You see my background
Yes,
over
I
here.
do. Very
That's the little background over here, and as you can probably see it in full
nice. Mm-hmm.
is what you're seeing right now. So
Very.
meanwhile, the folks in the video are seeing you and me on the side by side. But if someone has their Bing screens up, they probably seeing the same thing. If anyone knows what it is, feel free to post it
It's a
on there.
nice
I can
cliff.
probably.
I mean, with
It's
a,
a nice cliff.
yeah, with, it looks like a medieval sort of church in the background.
We're in Europe somewhere. I don't know why
I believe
it
so.
feels Scotland to me for some reason. I'm not sure why.
Yeah.
Scotland, but maybe not. I'm trying to see. Usually there's like a link somewhere where you click and you say, "Hey, what the heck is this?"
Right.
Uh, let's see. Maybe the Bing menu. Let me go find it. Ah, it is. I was right. Hold on a second. Let me take a screenshot of this here. Stand by. I'm gonna paste it onto so we can see it on the big screen. Paint. No, paint for to go. Paint's going to be around a long time, so I'm going to paste paint over here. Here we go. And let me zoom that out.
Right.
Oh, Control Z. Hold on a second. Control V one more time, and let's go ahead and make this guy big. And
And then
let me view it, zoom in.
there you go.
There we go. See what it says? Salisbury Crags in Holyrood Park, Edinburgh, Scotland. Was I right? Was
You
I
were
right? I
right.
guessed.
You're on the
I
money.
totally guessed. It looks like Scotland to me. Ah, yes.
You're on the money.
Lovely place. It's on my bucket list.
Yes, it is mine as
Actually, it's
well.
on my bucket list as an adult to go back there. I was as a kid, didn't appreciate it as much. Got to get there as an adult. But I love this little Bing thing, Bing wallpaper.
Mm-hmm.
Just refresh something different every day to look at, little things to add to. Hey, look, it's got my Cloud Talk Show thing right down there. Oh, that's some little teeny features after all the years they keep adding
Right.
that just make things a little bit fun.
Yeah.
Cloud services, by the way, all in the cloud.
Yes.
Speaking of cloud, all right. So now that you have that issue with those services, how would you think you would get around it? What do you think what are your thoughts? You're going to try to get around it, or you're just going to wait until Microsoft says, okay, we'll catch up and we'll let you know when we're ready?
I think I'm going to, when I get back to New York, hope that, it's a 26-hour drive. We're taking it in 3 days, and so I'll be back Monday. They'll have it fixed by then. It'll be available.
There
I'm
we go.
just I'm just
That's
complaining. I'm just,
patience.
a little angst.
We're commiserating.
Yes,
Yes, we are
it's good
commiserating.
for the soul to kind of flush that out.
Let it out. Let it go. Let it out.
Let it out.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
speaking of, in the cloud, one of the interesting things, and we were having a virtual coffee this morning, and one of
Ah.
the things that people were talking about is the just-in-time inventory system that most
Hmm.
people are using, which is why the chip shortage really kind of hit them and drove it home. And with
Of
the
course.
with the VDI, the Windows 365, that's Microsoft building out that infrastructure kind of just in time. They forecasted what they thought
Hmm.
the demand was going to be, and they're building it out as needed.
Yep.
Um, but you know, that's really what the cloud is. The cloud is just enough. That's what that when you move to the cloud, you should move just enough of your stuff to the cloud. We want to be
Yes.
lean as in as many places as we can.
You don't have to be mean. Just be
You
lean.
don't have to be mean. You're right. Just be lean. And you know, moving to the cloud doesn't mean that you stand up a virtual machine and install the same software that you had in your local servers, right? I
Right.
mean, that's not the same. That's not really moving to the cloud.
Hmm.
That's that's just a relocation of your stuff. And it's not saying that that that's not okay. That's not the best. But
Yes.
when you're lean, when you're lean like that, one of the things that you run into is if there is a shortage down the line, you can find yourself unable to do work. And
Ah,
the reason that I'm kind of bringing this up is that, you know, Xboxes, right? The Xbox S
oh, don't
and
remind me.
X are completely sold out everywhere, right? You've been unable, you've got to stand in line and
You're
or
still waiting for yours, right?
use a bot. And well, so no, we got paid out instead of getting a machine.
Ah, here's the money go away.
Yeah. So what, and that's kind of an inside thing. The company I worked for, one of the things that they do or did before they got purchased
Right.
is they always gave a really cool
Yes,
technical Christmas gift. And
they
this
did.
year it was supposed to be an Xbox
Right.
X.
The new
Um,
Xbox and
the
the
new
not
Xbox,
the baby one, not the white one, the
not
big
not the little S, but the big
the mini fridge.
the mini fridge X. And yeah, there was no chance. Getting 1,000 of those for a company is just wasn't in the cards. And so finally
Right.
they just gave up and they paid us out and said go get your own. So the reason that I'm bringing this up though is because I just checked this morning. I
Hmm.
saw last night in reports that Walmart actually had some, and
Walmart.
you could go online and buy them.
Huh?
Um, yeah, I know.
Uh-oh.
So let me warn you though. I'm sorry. It's the S. The S is
It's
all
the
they
S.
have left.
No, okay, so I will say the GameStop has had the S for a while, and the catch with GameStop, we turned into a gaming podcast now,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
the
Now we're
GameStop
game.
that they're dealing, and hey, this is cloud services still, it's still
Right.
because Xbox through the cloud.
Well, and the
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 S was
S is
available. You had to buy the $39 a month or some huge number per year or whatever, but you had to buy their club services,
right.
right? Where you get a discount, you get their, I think they get their magazine virtually or all that stuff, and
Yeah,
then you'd be eligible to buy an S from them. It didn't give you the S, but it gave you like a mini discount, I think, and allowed you to get it, which is, hey, that was actually a smart move because I do believe they pushed out all their S's that way.
yeah. No, no, and we are a GameStop member. I mean, I don't get paid for this. You
Yep,
know, just
I am
like
too. That's
do
why I
we
get the mail.
on our bumper? Do we still say that all of um the opinions of
Are
these two
ours. All these
old
opinions are
fogies?
ours. We
Yeah,
don't get paid by anyone. We don't. I mean, even the T-shirts that we get are swag that we accumulate on our own.
right.
By no other nefarious means.
But we do GameStop, and one of the things that you get from the membership is like a $5 discount a month or
Yes.
something like that, which
Yes.
it's a good it's very good marketing. Let me just say that.
Yes.
But Target also, by the way, has the S online. You could buy the S online at Target. And I looked the there's the Walmart that's closest to me in New York doesn't
Mm-hmm.
have one of
Right.
the S's, but there is a Walmart in New York City in Brooklyn that I could actually take a train to and pick up an S
I
if
heard a
I were
tree
in
grows in
town.
Brooklyn.
There, yes, and boy, are the dogs glad.
Yes. Oh, okay,
Okay,
that's a really old joke for some folks. They're like, "What the heck are they talking about?" Look it up, folks.
yeah, okay, but but the S is very much a cloud only device if you look at it because the S is not as powerful. It also doesn't have the local storage. It is a cloud device. So
Aha.
I mean, we're not off topic.
No, you're not.
We're just
This is on exactly on
because
topic. This is the whole point because you were talking about devices and device shortages.
right. And if we look at you know, really the Xbox S is to gaming sort of like the Windows 365 is to developer machines. And that's what I'm really after. I'm when I get home, I'm gonna get one of those because man, I really hate to have to ship laptops to the 16 developers that are going to be on my next project
Hmm.
because that just that's downtime. I mean, there's there's a lead in order to get the machines built and the images put on the machines and the machines sent out. That's just wasted time, and that's
Indeed.
non-billable time. Here's the problem. It would be fine if we could build the client,
Oh, so
but
the
we
client's
have
not exactly
resources.
on board. You're sort of trying to get around limitations
Well,
on your side. Okay, I
well,
see.
what we're going to end up with. I mean, I've got to sell it to the client once I find out if it works,
Right.
right?
Oh,
But you know how this consulting gig works, right? We
right.
get paid for the work that we're doing. We don't get paid to sit and wait.
That's
Um,
true.
so the resources are going to be allocated to the project, but they can't start work until they get their machines.
Mm-mm,
Now,
mm-mm.
one of the things that we're trying to do, and one of the ways that we kind of get around that is that we stagger the developers in. We're not going to drop all 16 at once. We're also we sort of preload. We do a
Right.
sprint zero with the local kind of management, if you will, the some of the local developers, the architect, the PM, and such. But you that gives us a chance to kind of get ahead of it. But that still becomes a juggling act. It would be nice if on day one a developer could just log in to this virtual machine that had
Hmm.
all of their stuff and was joined to their domain.
Right. Maybe
So
even downloaded their project stuff ready to go, so they don't have to wait and do that initial connect to ADO and bring things down.
right,
Potentially.
already has the
Brr.
yeah.
You can, I
See,
mean, all you have to do is hit F5 and poof, you're in.
exactly. Yes, you launch Visual Studio, you hit F5, and you see the project running. Hmm.
Hmm.
Me thinks it would be quite
Yes, I mean,
nice.
because usually when they set those up, so here's the thing also, when folks set that up, they always go to that point where like, okay, well now it's set up, but now you have to open up Visual Studio and now reconnect and add your account and add all that stuff. Now imagine, because see, this is where I was talking about chocolatey and the other one still will have a purpose, right?
Right.
Well, okay, now we've solved the bigger problems, which you tried to do with maybe a chocolate and all that stuff, but those were really big and hard to do even with those products. But now just minimize their scope and focus on the smaller things. So the smaller things are like just setting up your profile on your system, maybe set up some windows, maybe set up some projects or something, just pre-built or pre-grab, pre-download, pre-run, pre-built, some
And see,
pieces.
yeah, this is a problem that has a ton of solutions, right? I don't know that there's a best one yet. That's the key. That's why we're all still solving it. I mean, one of the other options is to use Docker and
Oh yeah,
actually just have a Docker image that has
and
all of
you're
your source code. I, I wait, read that back. A Docker image that has all of your source code? What are you talking
sure.
about? Oh, you, but see if your developers are all developing off of that Docker image, and a Docker image is easy to bring down. Bandwidth is no longer a limitation.
That's right.
Um, or if we get in the cloud, then it's somebody else's bandwidth. That's even better.
Exactly.
Somebody else's bandwidth.
Right.
Uh,
That's the point.
right. But I mean, there are. I have seen. In fact, Ralph, didn't you do a Docker image with VS Code
Yes,
and
that
do
was the
a
Docker
full
image
development?
essentially for the SPFX for the SharePoint framework development. It's all in
Mhm.
a little Docker code. You open up, you do your development, push it out, and it's done. Shut it down. That's in. There is a couple of links for that. I think these are old links. We can go look at our old videos to see if we have that posted over there. I know from Elios Strife was the first one that did it. Like, and this is like 2 years ago now,
Right.
two
It's
almost
it
3 years ago. This is old stuff now.
it is a solution though that now that if we're able to run Docker images in the cloud, right? We don't know if uh, I don't have one of those desktops to know, and I haven't looked it up. I'm sure that I could look it up to see if it's
Mhm.
virtualization enabled because they have a way to pass that through.
Yes.
And there's a lot of man, it's just there's so many cool things that are going on. I'm just
So
excited.
I do believe he was doing it inside of a Linux
Mhm.
environment. Is what the cool thing was. It was the Docker inside of Linux, and he was doing VS Code, which is of course compatible at the time. There's not that much going because he wasn't doing anything that needed any kind of extra component because at least the way the SharePoint framework and the way current SharePoint Online works is it's agnostic as heck.
Right.
It's just a web system. If you try to do anything that's like gonna favor any of the OSs, you pretty much broke the pattern. You pretty much broke the framework. You're pretty much on your own. So, and this is going on 3 years now.
We're gonna have to find that link. Pull that in. Show notes.
Yes. Show
Check in the
notes.
show notes below.
Yes, that's right. Follow the links below. We're gonna have it at some point.
But I mean, man, it's just you know, there are people are doing portable installs of software. I'm guessing that you could do a portable install um, of your software and have it in one of those little virtual machines, have it in one
Hmm.
of those Docker images.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of different ways to skin this cat, as they say.
So I could see that going on now. Remember before we used to get the little USB whatchamacallit,
Right,
little
the little
dongle things
dongle.
that we used to put them in there,
Right,
and then we would
RSA
get like
key.
essentially open up File Explorer, and then you have to go and open it up. Now imagine putting those in, and poop, the screen completely comes up. The whole OS, the whole thing logs in, and you have your screen, and that's all ready to go.
Right.
Either log in, maybe it'll ask you to log in, or maybe it'll automatically log you in, and then you have your screen, and then you do whatever it is you're doing because you're kiosk style. So
See,
in other
that's
words, that now can happen.
right. We can do that for a lot of things, but I'm really I'm thinking about the cloud. I'm thinking about those. So it's not inexpensive,
Hmm.
right? So what I've looked at, the Windows 365, it's like current prices, right? Your mileage may vary if you're watching this later.
Of course.
It's like $20 a month for a smaller machine. Up to they said the quote that I was reading said up to $165 a month for one of the big, you know,
Right.
goofy size machines.
Well, that almost sounds VM-ish from Azure to Azure Price Calculator.
It does. Yeah, that's what it sounds like. That's what it should sound like, right?
Yes.
I mean, that's really what we're talking about. We're just talking about an kind of cloud sugar, right? Syntactic sugar is my favorite kind of little
Y-
term, but this
Yes.
is this is cotton candy that's wrapping the cloud and making this an easy thing to do, sort of the easy button. Th-
Yes.
Thanks, Staples, for that, by the way.
That for that meme, that's a good
But I
meme.
mean, that's a good meme. I like it. So, I mean, the but I mean, seriously though, $240 a year is a lot less than you're going to pay for somebody's desktop.
Yeah.
And if they can connect, you know, what you end up with is you buy one of those little. You actually can buy a machine for $140. One of the little Chrome
The Chromebooks,
books.
one of those.
Yeah,
Yep.
and you have one of those, and then you have a virtual machine that you're paying for, but you never have to replace the Chromebook. I guess that's what you're doing. You never have to replace the hardware of the machine because it's
No,
just a gateway.
it's just a gateway. Exactly right.
The
I
old
mean, it's
VC
got a sufficient
100s.
power to run whatever you need to run because at all times it's just virtual stuff running anyway. Well, of course, the key to that is you must have your connection to the cloud.
Connectivity, right?
You cannot be offline. There's no good way to be offline with that. Then you say, well, what if I have to go to the beach or something like that? If you're working at the beach, buddy,
Yeah, you ought to have
turn
a
it off.
5G. No, you ought to have a 5G connection. You
Yeah,
you, you should be able to do it through
so get some more SpaceX
the
satellites up
vehicle.
there and cover the entire Laguna Beach territory or whatever it is that you have to do.
Yeah. Well, and really, at this point with the chip shortage and stuff, we were talking about just in time. This is just in time compute. That's what the cloud is. The cloud is just in time
Just in
compute.
time
You've got,
compute.
it's. It is an interesting concept.
Hmm.
Always connected is kind of the state of things now. So I remember, I'm in Round Rock now. When we were here in Austin before we moved away,
Hmm.
Clear was a company that was trying to do over the air internet, and
Right.
and it was awesome. I'll tell you, I loved it. At the time, I was consulting not for Magenic, but for another company,
Right.
and um, Austin is a big place. Texas is just big,
Of
right?
course.
And because it's big, they don't build things close together. I think it's on purpose. I think it's some kind of weird flex.
Hmm.
Um, Speaking of weird flexes, let me get back to that. Um,
Sure.
the thing that we were doing though is when we would drive, I would be billing because I would have my wife would drive, Heather would drive,
Hmm.
and I would be billing because I would have my Clear dongle in the back of my laptop, and I would be coding as we're
Ooh.
going from place to place. Ooh,
Ooh.
yeah. No, and the
On the
connection was
edge.
great. I mean, I was able to take calls and do what we're doing right now. Um,
When
do video calls,
we had something like that
not
in the
Teams.
north suburbs when I lived there for a while in Chicago area.
Hmm.
That was the internet at the time. I loved it, and then they went out of business.
They went out of
I'm not sure
business.
if
That's
it
what
was
Clear did.
clear, and it was like, oh my God! And that was the best thing. It was over the air. I could literally work from anywhere in that whole neighborhood or as far as I could go. I had the connection, and I
Hmm.
remember that. And yeah, it was a dongle that they gave you to be able to do it.
Right.
And it was like this it was just too much. It made me, when I had the house up there, I made me put cat 5 all over the place. And when I had that, and I had a little modem for it, so I
Hmm.
could now go through the wire in the house. Well, it wasn't the fast wire, I think it was cat 5 at the time, or
Right.
cat, yeah, it was a cat 5, not a cat 6, but cat 5 at the time would have been the wiring for it. But even that wasn't necessary, right? You can just go anywhere, and it was going to be the same speed anyway. All right, the
Right.
Cat 5, all it allowed me to do is network to the other
Right. It's
machines.
is shifted.
Right.
Physical
You know,
shifting.
because
Yeah.
you couldn't exactly network with that, and that was the point. It had security. So if you were there, you were by yourself. You can connect to whatever you can connect to on the internet, but unless you knew where another machine was directly. Remember how we used to share machines in the past? They had those services that created special IPs to connect
Right.
the remote desktop and all that stuff. That was the only way to do it. If you wanted to be in a true network, you connected to the wire.
Yeah.
That was the only option at the time. And that was what, 2000, 2008, I think.
Oh,
2007. Holy smokes. That was a while ago. 2004 even, I think.
wow. Yeah.
Wow.
So okay.
Whoa.
Now I said I was going to get back to a weird Texas flex, um,
Yes.
because I lived in Charlotte, North Carolina, and Charlotte was
Yes.
awesome because the Charlotte Speedway was there, right?
Right.
You could NASCAR. So, but one of the things that was interesting is that there was a station in town that sold race gas because one of the things that you had to do in order to be able to have the 100 octane um, racing fuel,
Hmm.
there was some legal reason that they had to sell it commercially as well. But
Right.
yeah, so they had race gas, which was I can get that. I'll go to fill up the car today for our trip tomorrow. And one of the things that I see is that this pump, instead of having the diesel on the side, right?
Hmm.
Usually you have the um, regular plus and premium. Instead of
Yes.
having, and then diesel as a different hose, instead of having diesel, this one had a no ethanol.
Right.
So just
Oh,
straight
geez.
fuel, right? Because I think it's a Texas flex. I don't know. I'm gonna, I'm gonna get people mad at
Flex. We're
me.
talking flex fuel.
Well, no, it's just it's straight gasoline with no ethanol added because we don't want our cars because Texas is a big oil state.
Right.
We don't want no corn in our cars. We want our cars to not have that alcohol.
Right.
So anyway, I thought it was odd. It
Interesting.
was more expensive than any of the other options. Obviously, I didn't get it because that's weird. Um,
Hmm.
it's it's so and see, you're old enough, Ralph, to
Yes,
and I'm old enough um, to remember when there was unleaded and leaded gasoline.
that's right. That's what they call it, just leaded and unleaded. And it was like, okay, why would we get leaded gas? Well,
Mhm.
those cars could only take that kind of gas. That was the very
The
highly,
lead was added as a lubricant,
yes.
and that was the way or part of the way that the engine was lubricated, and that's why you had leaded gas. And then new cars were built that had oil injection so that they didn't have to have the lead, and
Hmm.
yeah, blah 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 blah.
There we go.
But now everything is just gas. It still says unleaded, I think, in places, but I mean it's just gas. There is no leaded gasoline
Yeah,
anymore.
they don't sell it. Yeah, they don't. They say unleaded, but they don't have anything right now. It's just like the regular, the premium, and
The plus.
pay us extra because you're paying for something extra. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm
You
not
want
sure what
more
the plus
octane.
gives you. Yeah, it's more octane. What are you
Yeah,
going to do
I
with
mean
that
look at
octane? You're going to go faster? What?
yeah, yeah. Um, but that's it's strange how things are changing. Sorry, but
Indeed, that's
completely
okay.
off topic. That has nothing to do with the cloud. Let's get back
Um,
to the cloud.
this is true. Speaking of that kind of data, if you were looking for that kind of data, I mean, on my topic that I had today, I was promising a little bit of the Power Platformy type stuff that's out there,
Yes,
and I'm not sure. You still have you can still see my share screen, correct?
I can. Yes, sir.
All right, and you remember this little program called Power BI.
Aha. Yes.
Now, Power BI, very one day I'd like to do a whole thing on this one actually. But Power BI is of course really powerful. It's been around for quite a while, so it's now part of the Power Platform.
Hmm.
And here's the thing. One of the things when you're going through the training for this, it's like Pragmatic was a company that works with Microsoft that does a really good job at like finding ways to train you and get you really into this. If you're a data person like an Excel head or anything like else, this is great. But it turned me on to this little guy and it's called data.gov. Turns out, if you want to play with data in the
Oh.
cloud, you want to do stuff, come here, data.gov, and you can do anything you want. So I can look, for example, for, oh, see, we have monthly price indexes. Let's look for, this is the example they gave me. It's called FDIC failed banks. Now, why would I want to look at that? Well, why not? But take a look, you see? And they'll have like, for example, like a CSV or an HTML version of it. Let's
Hmm.
go ahead and I can download that and I'll have the CSV file and I can use that for data to play.
Oh,
But
interesting.
Power BI is actually really cool because when I actually connect to data, and let's go make a new data source over here just so you'll see what I'm talking about. Get data. And you'll see, so I'm going to go get data to get started. Oops, I'm sorry, where'd it go? Hold on, it's thinking. Oh, it's thinking. Give it a moment. Some things are slow. So for example, I can get it from the web. I believe web is a choice over here. Where's web? Let me type in web. There we go.
There you go. Oh, interesting.
All right.
So
So I can now connect. Watch this.
Power BI
Give me a moment.
is reporting in a different way than
Yes.
Excel. But if you can use Excel, you can use Power
Yeah,
BI.
yes,
Is that a reasonable?
exactly right. All your skills from Excel apply to Power BI because that their so-called DAX, the query system, and everything else is all based on formulas
Hmm.
that you would use anywhere else. Oh, so for example, let's take a look at this. See, I have over here the failed banks. Maybe I have bank applications and everything else. Let me look for something with a CSV file in it. Financial institution
Financial institution office
location. So let me
locations.
go and right-click over here, and I'm going to copy the link all right,
Hmm.
to the CSV. You know what that means? If I copy the link, that means when it changes, I automatically get the change. So I'll say,
You get the
okay,
updated
watch
data.
this. Let's bring it in. So I have advanced ways of bringing it in, but then it asks, okay, how would you like to authenticate to this? Well, guess what? The data is free, anonymous.
Free, so
If
it's
this was
anonymous.
internal to you or through an API, look at that. Organizational account, web API, basic, Windows, pick your
Interesting.
poison. In this particular case, it says select which level to apply settings to, and it already knows. Look at chat. See?
Yeah.
Check
So,
it out. It already knows
and
where it's coming from.
by the way, speaking of our cloud, if you read that URL, it's an Amazon Web Service.
Aha,
It's an S3
that's
account.
right.
So,
And so look here, this is how quick suddenly I'm getting the data. And there it is. I can preview the data. At this point, I can extract the table using examples. I could, add my own columns in here right away. I could, especially this, transform the data. Check it out. Maybe I don't need all
sure.
that stuff. Maybe I want to. Oh, wow, it's going through. I have a floaty going on. Hold on a second. Give me a moment. It's still rendering.
Still rendering.
Because it's a lot of data. Here's an example. Check
Yep.
out all this data. So I can go ahead and I can create, for example, I can get rid of columns. For example, I don't like this column, remove column, right? Say the cert, maybe I want to, I can just remove columns like this. Remove other columns. Control Z.
Oh, that's all you've
That's
got
all I
now.
got now.
Yeah, there you go.
Let's see. Can I undo what I just did? But that's an example of where I could go. All right. So I have another one where I took in the bank list right over here. So this is an
Mhm.
example. Look, this data may be 14 days old. Refresh the data.
Oh, so cool.
Get the latest data and all that stuff. And then once I have it, now I can do all the different kinds of analysis and everything to it. Now here's the thing. Now that I have the data in this particular form through Power BI and I post it and everything else, if I have another application, a cloud application that I want to work with, the same concept that Power BI used to get at this data is the same as any cloud product that you need to get through. This is I'm doing on the desktop over here to do all this management and everything else, but I could have done this from the web, all right, from the actual interface. And the interface will actually allow me to create dashboards, which means a report on a report on a report and go do all that stuff
Very cool.
up in there. So you see there, I can even like get rid of rows and everything else. I can merge queries and then get back.
And see, I'm loving this because, you know, I look at, so I would want to do, you could do a geographical scatter plot
Yes,
because you had geographic data in there and you could have the map and you could show, put little pins in where the different banks have failed and
correct.
over time.
Exactly.
You could do a slider so that you show the dates
So,
and kind of, move through that date. I see a great example
exactly. Right, right off the bat.
that
So, like, where was that scatter plot that you talked about? Well, here's like a line chart, for example. Here's a
is a
scatter.
geographic,
Here's a
yeah.
scatter chart. So I just bring
Well,
it in really quick. Let's go ahead and bring in a scatter chart, and let's see if I could bring in the banks. Let's see what happens when I bring in that and the year,
banks of the year.
just to see what happens. Okay, so there's some data going on. Just keep adding data. Right now, though, I think I have a flat table, so it's all going straight across. But if I think I have to
Right.
bring in all the other information over here.
So I think go to see if you can bring up a map. See
Oh,
if you
one
can
of the
get a
map ones. Let's go
geographic
see. Yes, I
visualizations.
do have a
Yeah.
map over here. Where's the map? Oh, check it out. I like this one. See that one on the four on the by state, showing all the
By
information. So I
state.
can like look at per year what the failures are going on through and everything else. Let me go find a map. Map. Here we go. There's arc maps. Let's see if this one works. Got that? Let's go to another page here. Oh, ooh. Well, these are rich maps.
Ooh. And this is all
This is all
live,
live right
folks.
now,
This
what you're
is
doing.
without a net.
Oh,
We're
look, there we go.
we're
Check it out.
going.
All right, let me go make it
There you
bigger.
go. And now we want to attach our data to it instead of whatever data they have attached.
So let's see what we got. So this is like sample data right now. So let's go over here. So as you can see, we have over here some fields. It seems because this looks like sample
Uh,
data right now over here. Uh-oh.
right. Longitude and latitude, though.
Yep. Hold on a second.
We need a
Location.
we need a different kind of map.
Let me see if I can add. So location. So let me add the city. Let's take all this stuff out for a second, and let me add city under here and see what happens. City's there. The,
city and state. So we probably are going to have to do a
oh, so state took over there. Hold on a second. Drill true
yeah,
reports.
we would need to do
I need to do some.
some
I need to do a
manipulation of
little
the
bit of
data.
manipulation of the data. But over here, let's see. Yeah. Oh, there we go. There we go. That fit. There we go. Hey, this time I put the banks, the bank names, and
Oh,
now
okay.
it automatically put
Oh,
it into the cities where they came from.
because it looked them up.
It looked them up. Check it out. So I know this is the American one because look, this is Puerto Rico over this is Puerto Rico over here, and this is the United States. All right, and
Very
so then of
cool.
course I could zoom into the data, as you see.
Hmm.
I could have drill downs where I click on it, and maybe I'll see all the banks in that area. Check it out.
Right. If you back off a little bit and look at the clusters,
Yeah.
right? That's what that the reason that we want to do this is we want to see these
Hmm.
clusters. And so is that around
Oh
Atlanta
yeah.
or
So let's go deep dive into that area there.
yeah, it looks like that's around Atlanta
Right.
where they had a lot of problems.
So maybe if I
Um,
do it,
but it's
let's see what happens if I put the year in there. Probably the year in there is like a detail that goes in there. Filters on this. Oh, so I can put a filter on the visual, right? So here's my
there
filter,
you go.
and my filter is the year is let's enter equal to. So let's say before 2016. All right,
Okay.
go see. Hello.
Apply a filter
Uh,
down
Down
below.
below, apply filter.
There
There it is.
you go. And we saw
And
some
we saw
drop
some
off.
drop off. Yes. Let's go make this for 2010. Apply filter. And there we go.
We dropped
All
off some
right.
more.
So just basically, here's the thing. This is all user interface stuff. This is not. There's no programming or any of that stuff in. Even the transformations and that stuff that you saw over there. I can remove a column, add a column. I could make a like it very specific because you know how like cities are the same in some states. Like if I say
Right.
Charleston, hey, is that Charleston, North Carolina, or is that Charleston, Missouri, or is that where is that, right? You can actually combine them so that when you're doing the charting, it puts them in the right place for their drill downs and for their
Exactly.
lookups and everything else. All right, so
Yeah. And this is all out of the
this is all out
box.
of
I
the
mean, you
box.
can see,
I'm going to include a
yeah.
link to like the little learn thing that it's called the intro to learn, and when you follow through it, follow through yourself and just and do it because it we can be here all for a whole hour just walking through it,
Oh,
right? But I want to let you guys play. I'm going to let you play with it and just try it out for yourself. It's just the Power BI desktop, by the way, is free. Anyone can get it. This is what costs. See this publish over here? When I publish out,
right.
I'm going to need. Let me save my changes. I'm going to need either an environment already because, and you get a freebie if you have Office 365 or a dev tenant and all that stuff. You get a freebie. See my workspace. This is free. But if you wanted to go to like a business workspace, well, somebody has to pay for that.
Intranet or
Right.
internet, you would need
The
you need some
the
environment, and
premium
that's
service.
what you have
They
to pay
call
for.
that the Power BI Premium. And by the way, that used to be like for the enterprise version of Premium, used to cost like $4,000. You had to buy it in a big giant package to use it. Now they changed that pricing to be like $40 per person. You can actually buy an enterprise level for just $40 a month, which is actually just because enterprise level is what it means. Bam!
Right.
You're working in giant
And
scale
that person then they could publish to the
to the
world
world,
with
to
that.
their organization's world, of course. When they go
Right.
out and stuff. But that's the idea. It's like you find like in this case, my workspace. I'll select it, and I just happen to be logged into who am I logged into as? That's just me as me. Uh,
That's
Did you
you
know
as
you
you.
can create a portrait view? Hey, success! Check it out. And now I'm going to open it up in Power BI.
And
It's
there
going to
you
log
go.
me in, and now I'm looking at it on the web in my workspace. Oh, something went wrong. Interesting. What's the details? It could be that
Uh,
I'm logged in differently. Interesting.
yeah.
So there's something going on right now. Okay. Well, that was
Interesting.
very interesting.
Okay.
Well, I wonder if I
Well,
refresh this again, will it show me my app.powerbi.com? What's going on there? Nope, there it is.
there we
It
go.
might have been just one of those, when you're connecting. Again, just in time stuff. They're just finding their
Glitch in
way
the
in.
matrix.
So if I go and try to open it up again, let's see if it will open it for me. I have a feeling that this is not in the same account because remember how we said
Gotcha.
what account am I in? This is my
Right.
M365 Chicago. Oh no, that's right. I built this in my bigpix.com. That's what this guy is. I'm
Right.
using, here's the thing, by the way, folks, when you're setting up your profiles, try to make different pictures or colors for your stuff so you know which profile you're doing on. I try to give this concept with Edge. Edge is always the case up here. You see in the on Edge, you could have multiple profiles. You see my problem here?
Yes.
The profile for Big Pics and the profile for M365 Chicago is the same picture. I
Same
need to change
picture.
that. Hey, I just troubleshot my own problem when they're going
There you
on.
go.
And anyway, you don't really need to see this because it's going to be the same. When you open it up, it's going to look exactly the same as here, other than you don't have all this muck around it. You know, you're
Right.
playing with it
And
naturally.
you're not, I mean, the one of the other things is that um, Power BI behind the scenes is pulling in that data.
Yes.
It's just pulling it into the cloud.
Oh,
It's building out
yes.
a um, it's building out a data mart sort of behind it to allow all of the different interactions that you want with this particular data set. And
Yes.
so when you publish it, what you're doing is you're publishing it with a snapshot. There's a way that you can have that data automatically refreshed in the, in the published state. There's a lot to this. Go through the training,
Yes.
um, dig in because
I'm going to
you
tease you
can.
with another thing over here. You know what? So remember, you might have recalled when one of the things that we used to do quite a bit was how do we put Power BI into our app? We had everyone embedded. Remember, we had some guys at
Right.
Magenic, especially, that were really, really good at that, right? And they became
Mm-hmm.
good at that because I remember I was rah-rah-rahing them the whole time because I'm like, hey, if you can put that on a SharePoint page, you are the winner. You are golden because essentially SharePoint is the freebie intranet, and then you put a Power BI inside there, and that all that interaction was all powerful and everything else. It looked like we spent
Right.
hours and how do we say it? Uh, dozens of sprints building something, right? When in
Right.
actuality, it was just I just did it in a week, connected it, and I'm done. Don't tell anybody that I didn't do anything for the last 3 months, right? But now it's the reverse. And it's like, well, okay, I have this Power BI. I can do all this stuff. Why do I even need to be outside an app? It says, well, I still have to do work. Guess what? They have this. You see that
What?
button I just pressed? Power Automate. So now I can actually add a button over here wherein I link to the data over here. So maybe I click on that and a flow begins in the background
Oh.
automation that does some work for me, right? Maybe an edit a quick edit screen will show up, a Power App will show up, and then I'll actually be able to edit the data, push it through, and it comes back and then turns around, flashes it back at me. And so
Very
now
nice.
I never left it. More importantly, over here, look, see that? Add data, set up your flow, apply and share, format your button, make it pretty.
So now,
Oh
and
no!
I'm just I'm just thinking here. So all of those little dots on the screen right now, they're all kind of a greenish, right?
Yes, correct.
So if we had data where the something bad happens and it turns red,
All right.
and then you click on it
Mm-hmm.
and it starts a power automate that
Yep.
that fixes the problem and turns it back to green,
Yes.
that's something that you could do. You're saying that
Yes.
we could build that,
Assuming the data is live, like in this case, we're getting it from
assuming
the
the data is live.
CSV, right? So
Right,
obviously, I would have to have access to wherever they're getting that CSV and the
right,
ability in the back end, thanks to whatever system that's in the back. And that could have been an actual fully developed API that gets
right.
called upon. It's just an endpoint after all that
Sure.
does that update and everything else.
You could do a
And then it
web
would
API
refresh.
call and yeah, and pull the data and ah.
You got it, sir. I
Well, but
mean, what
see,
are
then we're down to the point that we're like the Metropolis, right? I don't know if you've seen the old Fritz Lang
yes,
movie where the
yes.
guy's just moving those knobs and you're like, well, why don't they just make a machine that moves the knobs, you know? But this is the
This
we
is
would
it.
be
You're
clicking
you're as
buttons.
close to it as you can get. Remember RPA. I haven't shown you. Maybe next time we'll do Power Automate Desktop. But for now, check this out. When you says get more
Very cool.
visuals, I can actually go to a store and get freebie visuals. That look how many
Word cloud.
tons.
That's cool.
Look at this, all this stuff. Look at that force direct graph. I mean, some of
Wow.
these are cool. Some of these charge, or
Hmm.
they're trials. My favorite are the ones that are trials. It's like, here, try it out. Oh, you love this, don't you? Now pay $100 a month, whatever. But most of them are like free. Look
First
how
taste is free. Come
look
on.
look look. Hey, check it out. This is, by the way, continuous scrolling. Some people love it and some people hate it, but this is continuous scrolling in action right now.
Hmm.
I mean, something I might look at this and say, I like this ring. Ooh, the ring chart. Ooh, that looks nice. Let's get the ring chart. I'm going to add my ring chart to my system over here.
Very
Let's
cool.
bring in my ring chart. It's successfully imported to this report, and there's my
And
ring
there
chart.
it is.
And there it is. And by the way, you can build those. There's a whole, it's an open source way of building it, and you can post it. And if it's really good, you can post it to the store. Microsoft will give the blessing for it, and it's on the store.
Very cool.
And of course, and you can do it for. And you saw, remember when I was adding a visual over here?
Hmm.
When I get more, let me get more for a moment. You see this? My organization. So
Oh, so you can publish them
you can make
internally.
your public and your own private internal. So people say, "Oh my gosh, do I have to go to the stores? Everyone have to see my stuff?" No.
No. And so you can have private label, your color schemes, all of that built in so that people can build a report that looks like it's coming from your organization
Correct.
just by building it into this.
Right. Again, all
And
all of
that's
this is in the cloud,
and
purely.
and you're not having to do a lot of really code writing.
Look, man, no
And I'm
code.
and I'm guessing that that building those visualizations is using JavaScript and
So there's like instructions on how to do it with React, with
with
all kinds of
React.
tools,
Wow.
Angular. You pick your poison. Build your tool, build your UX, do your CSS skills, your web skills, apply. Because after
Yeah.
all, what are they once again? Web bits.
They're web bits. Yeah. So if you were listening to Uncle Ralph all these years
All these years.
and you've been doing all of the good classes to become, SharePoint developers, now you're also Power BI developers.
Yes. Yeah, you are what's called visualization specialist there, Power BI
Visualization
visualization
specialist.
specialist, whatever you want to do. So you can see over here, like I said, and by the way, so you can go to GitHub. There's a bunch of these in GitHub for free,
Okay.
and some of these actually point to the GitHub to go grab the source from there as well, because you can. There's different places of where these sources can come from.
Hmm.
So look at this, like KPIs, Zebra. I mean, some of these are like you really have to know what the heck you're doing to use them in some cases, right? You
Right.
saw like, well, how come this doesn't work in the data? Well, here's the thing. At the end of the day, some of these things, if you don't understand your data or how that kind of data
Right.
visualization works, obviously that's not something that it's going to help you do
Right.
necessarily.
You can
However,
make it pretty
oh yeah,
without it being informative.
right. So let's look at
So.
these different maps, right? And they have some like ready to go for certain countries, and
Hmm.
not surprising because actually from everywhere. Look at that global launch estimates. Scatter plots. Visio. Visual. Ugh. Oh, Power BI certified. Oh, this is the one. This the so-called certified charts. They said these were tested and approved. Enjoy. A lot of these will have their disclaimers that say, "Hey, as is. If they don't
Right.
exactly work for you,
Sorry.
sorry, but here's your path to find out or to get help. If you don't like it again, you can just discard it, get something else.
Build your own. Yep.
All right. Oh, editor's picks. This is nice. This is something new. Look at that. Cradec timelines. Drill
Drill
down
down
map
map
pro by
pro.
Zoom charts. Oh, see this? And you see that? It says may require additional
Additional.
purchase. As I said, this could be a business model. You suddenly get good at this.
Hmm.
Sell it. And because there's
It's,
somebody that's going
it's
to
a
want it,
side
somebody's
gig.
going to
Come
want to
on.
have this data stuff. I
Right.
mean, the Gantt charts. I mean, we lost our Gantt chart. If everyone was like a fan of like Microsoft Project, and all of a sudden you lost your project because they went online and nobody wants to pay the extra, go get your own Gantt charts.
Yep.
Get your planner data or whatever you need, and make your own Gantt charts with it. Advanced analytics. Hey, there's our
Uh,
time for the next meeting is beginning to tell me what's going on.
yes.
Let me
We're gonna have
sneeze.
to. We're gonna have to close
We're
this.
early in the day over here because there's all kinds of stuff going on a Friday. We're just lucky to be at the point where like most people are either on vacation, but eventually our day does start. We have clients, we have work. But anyway, so that's my thing for today. I'm gonna my promise for this is a link to the training to be able to get a quick intro to this stuff to
Okay.
play, and you may like to do it too. Just play it out. Uh, do it at double speed, right? And then in a half hour, you'll have everything you need to know, right?
Really?
And maybe a couple other links on like the Power Automate stuff and all
I don't
that.
know.
That should be
Might
fun.
have I might have actually taken the Microsoft test for this.
Oh,
Uh,
oh, the Power Platform. Well, this. Oh,
the
it's that
Power
reminds me. I
the
need to
Power
take the
BI.
test. The Power
Yeah.
BI one. Oh, the data one. Ooh. Well,
I
you
might
may
have
want to
actually taken
refresh your
that
training
test.
because there's a lot of new stuff in there, as you
I
just
know.
saw.
I know. There's a lot of cool things.
A lot of cool things. Changes all the time. Okay, so that was a
Yeah.
full show. We did a lot of stuff. We did a lot of talking. We even talked about gas somehow, in a good way.
Yes.
Um, all right, so I'm going to leave this picture of Scotland right over here, and we're going to move on. Larry, next week, I think we're on a
We're
roll.
back.
We're so far we
We're
have
back
this
to
stuff
the
working. We're
yeah.
back to the grind.
Back
Back
to the
to our
grind.
back to our
Normal
locations.
time.
Yep, normal
Normal
time.
time. Normal locations. Multiple monitors.
All
Hopefully
right.
by then I will have.
And now is the time to start telling people, I
Yeah.
think, what we're doing some more.
I think so. I think
Yes.
we can
We'll do a little
scream it
more
to the
social
world.
media. Yes.
Hmm.
I think you saw a couple of my things that I posted. I have to do it like a lot sooner than that. We'll
Yes.
get there.
All right.
All
We'll
right,
see
sir.
you.
It's a pleasure again,
Thanks
sir.
everyone for joining. You're probably not here live with us, but um, watching the recording to see how this all began. Way
Yes.
back in the dawn of time,
And the dawn of the
2021.
cloud time. Yes.
Yes,
All
yes.
right. So stay safe. You have a long trip ahead of you, and I will
Thanks. You
too.
stay safe as well. Be good.
All right. Take care.
All right.